Hello student, welcome back to my channel. Today we will discuss about the properties of non-metals, and in my earlier class I've told you about properties of metal. So let's start. Non-metals are non-malleable and they are brittle. So I told about malleable. What is malleable? Malleable is a property of metal. They have a ability to convert metal into thin sheet. Now we talk about non-metals are non-malleable. They are not able to convert into thin sheets. So when we try to convert into thin sheet, it is break into small pieces. So they are not able to get convert into thin sheets. So what is the examples of non-metal which are non-malleable? Which is sulfur and phosphorus. Sulfur and phosphorus. So these are the non-metal which is not able to convert into thin sheets. So non-metals are brittle in nature. Brittleness is a characteristic of property of solid non-metal. So let's talk about another property. Non-metal are non-ductile. So what is ductile? Ductile means metals are ductile because ductile is a property of metal in which we convert metal into a thin wires. So but non-metal has not that property because they are not able to get convert into thin wires. So because they are easily stretched. For example, sulfur and phosphorus, when we try to get a convert into a wires, it break into a pieces. So they do not form wires. So example is sulfur and phosphorus. So let's talk about another property, which is non-metals are bad conductor of heat and electricity. So when we talk about the bad conductor of heat and electricity, that means they are not able to pass heat and flow of current. So when we talk about the sulfur and phosphorus, which are able to allow the heat pass heat and electricity. But there is an exception, which is diamond. Diamond is a good conductor of heat and electricity. Diamond is a good conductor of heat, and it is for heat. And graphite is another exception of good conductor of electricity. So there is a two exception in non-metal. Both are allotropes of carbon, diamond and graphite. So diamond is a good conductor of heat and graphite is a good conductor of electricity. So but rest of these two, all non-metals are bad conductor of heat and electricity. So let's talk about another property, which is non-metal are non-lustrous. What is the meaning of lustrous? Lustrous means shine. So non-metals are not has not shining surface. So they do not have luster, which means that they do not have shining surface like sulfur and phosphorus. They appears to be dull, but there is exception, which is iodine. Iodine is luster. So just remember their exception because it is important in examination point of view. So iodine is a luster. It is only the non-metal which has a capability to shining, and they have a shining surface. So let's talk about another property. Non-metals are generally soft. We are able to cut with knife like sulfur and phosphorus. Okay, but there is a exception, which is diamond. Diamond is very hard and we are not able to cut into with knife, right? So let's talk about another property, which is non-metal are not strong. uh, Non-metals are not strong because and they have a low tensile strength. I already talk about the tensile strength. What is tensile strength? Those substances and those things which have a capacity to hold large weight. So but non-metal have not that property. For example, graphite is non-metal which is not strong. They have not tensile strength. Okay, so graphite is non-metal. They have low tensile strength. So let's talk about another topic. Non-metal may be solid, liquid, or gas. So let's talk about the example of these three. Like sulfur and phosphorus is solid, and bromine is liquid, and in gaseous state there is a lot of examples of non-metal, which is oxygen, nitrogen, uh, and helium. So what is the example of solid? Sulfur, phosphorus. And liquid is bromine. So mostly non-metals are solid or gas, but there is an exception, which is bromine. Bromine is liquid in nature at room temperature. So gas is nitrogen, oxygen, that is examples of gaseous state of non-metals. So let's talk about another property. Non-metals have low melting point and boiling point. So I told you about metals have a property of high melting point and boiling point, but now we will talk about non-metals which have a low melting point and boiling point. So let's take example to understand the property, which is we talk about the sulfur. Sulfur has a very low melting point, which is sulfur has 119 degrees Celsius. Okay, but there is an exception which has a very high melting point, which is graphite. Graphite has a very high melting point, which is 3700 degrees Celsius, right? And that is only the exception of non metals, and they have also high boiling point. So let's talk about another property. Non-metals have low density. So because non-metals has light substances like sulfur, the density of sulfur is 2 gram per centimeter cube, right? But there is a exception, which is iodine. Iodine has, it is a exception. They has a high density, right? So they has a very high density. That is a exception of non-metal, but rest of the non-metals have low density. So non-metal are sonorous. So we already talk about sonorous. What is sonorous? When we strike a metal with hammer or whatever, you just use a metal with strike with it. So they produce a sound. So basically it produces sound. So but in non-metal it is not happen, because mostly non-metals are made up of are in gases in nature. So they are not able to produce a sound. Okay, so let's take another property. Non-metal have many different colors. So we talk about like sulfur is yellow, right? And something like that, phosphorus is white in color, white or red in color. and graphite is black in color. So they have a many different colors. There is no specific color, and hydrogen and oxygen H2 and O2 is colorless. So there is no fixed color. So I hope just that topic is finished, and in my next class we will talk about the metalloid, which is the last property of element. So I hope you just understand the whole topic, and you just like and subscribe my channel. Thank you. Bye.